All right. So let's talk about functions and methods. Okay. So functions, methods, they all kind of mean the same thing. They're used interchangeably. Sometimes methods refer to functions that are inside classes. Okay, those are also called member functions because they're members of classes, and that's a C++ thing. All right. So functions, methods, member functions, but you'll still see people call them methods. Subroutines. In fact, in Visual Basic, I think you call them subs. I can't remember, but I taught Visual Basic for a few semesters, and I believe they were subs. Subroutines, right? That sounds very Star Trek: The Next Generation. Sounds very Spockish, right? Or Data, or whatever. Who cares? So subroutines. What else? Subroutines. It's like really what used to happen is we used to program in like Basic. What you would have is you would like down here you would have at line like 1,000. Oh, and this is how you would number the lines in Basic. So you number 10, 20, 30, 40. In case you had to go back, you had 10 lines you could put in between 10 and 20. I'm not joking. That's actually a thing. All right. So you would write some code here and you write some code here. Then here you'd say like jump to 1,000, and then 1,000 there would be code here that ran, and then it would jump back and continue on. So that was kind of like the first subroutines, and your subroutine would be way down here, and all the code would be together. So that's kind of the idea, though. It's a mini program. So if you just think of this as a mini program, you'll be okay. All right, it'll make sense. And so, what can the mini program do, or what are the parts of the mini program? Well, you get to start the mini program. So you define the mini program. Define the mini program. The mini program. Start the mini program. And observe the result of the mini program. A function is a program within your program, okay? It's a set of code that you can say, I want this code to run, and then that code will run, okay? And it will give you some sort of result, okay? Sometimes it returns a number. Actually, let's get into that. So define the mini program. This is called the function definition. It includes the name, things called parameters you pass in. Okay, and start the mini program. This is the invocation. Oh, return value. And then the body of the function, okay? Start the mini program. This is called invoking the function or calling the function. Invoking or calling the function. And then observe the result. Well, that means either the function is going to return a value or print something out. And in processing's case, draw on the screen or something. All right, so let's get into it. All right, so we have this mini program. So let's start with functions methods. So let's start with if you wanted to put just a method anywhere, right? Typically, what your methods are going to have, no matter what, right? They're going to have a return value, a function name, and a parameter list, P1, P2, P3. Okay? Your return value will be things like int, double, but could even be things like ball, right? Anything you can think of can be a return value. It could be all these things, okay? Your function name will be how you call the function, okay? So how you say, I want to start this mini program, you know? You get to a part in your code and you're like, okay, time for this mini program to handle it. Let me start it, all right? We have a few functions actually. Oh, void, I'm sorry, we've got void down here. As you can guess, you know what functions I'm going to be going to, right? Setup is a function, and that's a special function that's run when you hit play, and it's run once, right? Draw is another special function, and that's invoked 60 times a second, right? Called 60 times a second. We don't call these explicitly, unfortunately. Okay. Also in that are your friend's public static void main, right? And though that one's also not called explicitly. Okay. But in the last project, we did call ball.update, right? So we called if we had ball A, right? We said a.update, right? And inside update's code, update called 3 different subprograms. It called drawball, I believe, move ball, move, let's just call it move, and then check for collisions, right? Collisions. Okay. So it did some work for us, right? And none of these took in any values, and none of them returned any values. They just drew stuff, they just updated values that were inside the class and drew stuff on the screen, okay? And then finally we have a parameter list. So we'll get into better examples of functions, but you've already seen functions, and the parameter list always has a type and param name, okay? And that goes for all of these, right? They all have a type and a parameter name. All right, so that is the anatomy of a function, okay? Let's do a few concrete examples just to get everything going, all right? So, let's say that so the one that everyone always does, so what's a good function? Like a function that prints a value out to the console, okay? So we'll start with that. That's called a void function because it's just printing out to the console, and we'll see how that differs from a numbered function in a second. And you could say void print to console, okay? And let's say it took in a string to print, okay? Now, what is this doing, right? And we could say the code here will be system.out.println, to print. Right, very simple, okay? So we see that it's not returning anything. We don't know what that means yet, but we'll get there. Its name is print to console, okay? And its parameter, it takes in one parameter to print, okay? So what that means is, and we'll go system.out.println. Hello to print, or whatever. we'll write it in a second. But what this means is that, okay, when you invoke this function, you invoke it with a string. And for the run of that function, this string will have the value you invoke it with. So this can be named anything. Anything. Okay? And so let's see what happens when we invoke this. Let's invoke this together, okay? So somewhere we're going down our code and we say, you know what? It's time to print to the console, right? And so we write print to console, hey, okay? And this is totally legal because print to console takes in a string, all right? Well, what this means is that it's almost like toPrint is being set equal as the first line to whatever's passed in, okay? So when this is passed in for this, it's identical. It's functionally identical. wrong use of terminology. It's identical to having this line of code at the top, okay? And it's saying for this run of the function, toPrint's gonna equal hey, okay? You can change toPrint after that, but when the function starts, toPrint equals hey, and maybe later on something happens. So if I say print to console hey, toPrint's gonna equal hey, we don't actually write that because that's what this does. Passing it in for this is essentially this. So you can just remember that this is what's going on. And so then if I print out hello toPrint plus toPrint, it will say hello hey. Okay? Very, very interesting program. Right? Let's play the game, right? By play the game, I mean open processing. Did I open processing already? Of course not. Of course not. Nothing better than wasting students' time. Go get some popcorn, get some coffee, I've been eating dry pasta. Ooh, don't start eating dry pasta. I'm sure it's killing my teeth, but it tastes. At first you're like, this doesn't taste like anything, and then you realize, oh, the crunch and like and then okay, forget it. So let's say, can I just do a function apropos of nothing? And let's see what the rules are in processing. Will it let me do this? It might let me do this. Print to console. It is not liking this. I don't think I'm allowed to do this unless to print. Don't worry, we'll get it. Oh, wait a second. It did allow me to do it. Hey, system.out.println hello plus toPrint. Hello plus toPrint. Okay? And now I can run this function over and over again and invoke it with different values. So I could say string name equals Ashok, okay? String friend name 1 equals Gwen, all right? String friend name 2 equals Oren. These people aren't actually I'm just putting them in there. No, they're my friends. You're all my friends. I feel that I shouldn't have used real names. That's the thing. Now it's like I'm playing favorites. All right, print to console, string to print, right? And we can now, invoke it with each one of these and see what happens. So now I can say print to console name, okay? And it's like, this is like, why didn't it, oh, it doesn't, return type for method is missing. Return type for method is missing. Oh, it wants me to define the method. Okay. I think I know a way to get around this. It only allows method definitions. Okay, so now we're gonna go print to console name. Okay, print to console friend name 1. All right. Print to console friend name 2. All right. And all right, it'll print all of them to console. So let's hit play and see what happens. Hello Ashok, hello Gwen, hello Oren, right? So it's saying it took the name, right? And for that run of the function, it's like it said, okay, so toPrint will equal name, which means in the toPrint box, we're gonna find, which is the same thing as saying toPrint equals the string Ashok, right? And same thing down here, it kind of did the same thing with Gwen and Oren, right? No difference. It just said toPrint equals the string Gwen, right? Because it equals the same thing as friend name 1, and toPrint equals Oren because it equals the same name as friend print 2. Okay. Let's keep on going. How long are we at? Oh, we're at 16 minutes. Okay. Few questions and we'll jump to the next video.